What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction, and in this one we have why the Dutch are more relaxed when it comes to parenting. A BBC reel. I'm excited to see just how relaxed the Dutch are. And why are you that relaxed? Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash subscribe, get a video a thumbs up. Let's figure out what's going on here.
I think for quite a way, probably straight in pregnancy, I was faced with the question, how am I going to do that? How am I going to combine this thing?
Her accent is a little thick, so I'm going to need a little bit of captions on this.
I had studied medicine and I hadn't specialized yet. And I had to do further training in order to be a doctor. I thought, how can I do that? Being a mom and look after my child, and I felt a bit guilty having those two aspects of life. How would they come together? I wasn't sure about that.
Sociologist Caitlin Collins at Washington University in St. Louis interviewed dozens of mothers to understand more about how this clash plays out in the workforce.
Women, I think, unfortunately feel like they're failing all the time, and it is that sense of abundant and perpetual failure that I think leads to abundant stress, exhaustion, burnout amongst American mothers today, as well as those in other countries.
And you have to be patient all day, and after a while it builds up.
There's just so much like overthinking and like stress and worry and anxiety that happens like inside of their brain because you feel like you want to pursue your career, but you feel that guilt, especially if you have children, of not spending that time with your children. And if you decide all you want to do is spend time with that child, then you feel like something's missing. Like, did I like give up who I am to be a mother and decide not to pursue a career? And so it's like I see where they're coming from when they say that.
Up and you feel it creates a fight or flight response. I can feel the stress building up.
Yes.
And then when they're asleep, it's forgotten again.
Yes, that's right. It was always the most beautiful moment. They look at you like they're totally in love with you, and of course they are when they're young. And they want you so much. You're the most beautiful person in the world, and to feel that.
The United States has the most family-hostile public policy of any country in the Western industrialized world.
Among Dutch moms, stress
Agreed.
might be less because of their parental leave, obviously. First of all, we have a long maternity leave, which is 16 weeks, what's long compared to the US.
We have no paid parental leave. That means that a lot of folks, men and women included, work right up until they have a baby. I can't tell you how many women I've interviewed who told me they were responding to emails on their phone while they were in labor between contractions in the hospital.
That's literally baffling. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, US, that has to change. Because that makes no sense at all.
That is not the norm in other countries.
We have 4 weeks before childbirth, so you have to take them. You know, not every mother might need those 4 weeks. I worked up until childbirth for each of my children, but not in the office, you know, from home. And that helps definitely in calming down or making your physiology a little more, you know, relaxed. Also, just the fact that in that first week you have help in your house, there's the maternity nurse, it helps.
The United States, to be honest, is a laggard in this regard. We have no universal child care, no universal social insurance entitlement, no federal minimum standard for vacation and sick days. And what this means is that in the United States, most parents have to adopt private solutions to reconcile their caregiving with their paid employment. And when we leave it up to individual parents to reconcile these competing demands, what we get is disparities reproduced between typically wealthier, more highly educated workers who can secure, for example, daycare facilities that are open the hours that they work to help care for their kids. And it is lower income, vulnerable, and hourly wage workers who most need access to work family policies and at the same time are least likely to have access to them.
There's lots of things that are different in our culture.
It's crazy because it's like, the daycare is ridiculously expensive here unless you find, you know what I'm saying, somebody doing it on the low under the radar of the government. You find somebody you got a connection with, do it. But other than that, it's just ridiculously expensive to the point where it's going to eat up if two parents are working, it feels like it's going to eat up one of the parents' paychecks to take care of the children while the parents work. For this reason, this is why I really, because I'm about to have a kid here soon. This is why I really like want to continue to be able to do YouTube, so I'm able to stay here. My wife right now does not work, does not have to work, so she'll be able to stay with the child while I'm in here recording, our child while I'm in here recording videos. But yeah, it's literally, it's a lot to deal with here in the U.S. They don't really, it's like, want you to have this baby, want you, but we're not going to really offer you support. So it's kind of frustrating.
From the US in terms of mother's stress. Going back to work is after 16 weeks, but for most of our mothers, that's just for 2 or 3 days a week. It's not all positive, that has downsides to it as well, because our childcare system is good, but it could be better, I'm sure. But there's the positive side is that it's our culture might be a little more family focused and a little less work focused than the US.
So you've got these competing cultural expectations, this ideal worker model, which suggests all your time and energy should be focused on your job. And then you've got these intensive mothering expectations that say all of your time, energy, attention, and money should be invested in your children's well-being.
Yeah.
Being caught between these cultural ideals really leaves women feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, burned out, and to be honest, tremendously guilty. I've interviewed working mothers in the US as well as in Sweden, Germany, and Italy, and I do have to say that here in the United States, working mothers really stood apart in the amount of guilt that they expressed to me in feeling these competing cultural norms and feeling caught in the middle of them, right? They felt this double bind that they were failing on the job and that they were failing their families and in particular their children. And to me, this gets to the heart of why it matters that we study motherhood, right? I can't tell you how many times I sat down with mothers, whether it was at their dining room table or in their living room or in a cafe near their work or maybe even in their office with the door closed in the middle of a work day. And moms broke down in tears, telling me that they felt they were failing their children, that they didn't have enough hours in the day and enough time and energy to devote to their children in the way that they thought their children deserved.
That is, I think she sums that up perfectly, and I think so many moms, definitely feel that, especially working moms here in the U.S. We just need more policies like the Dutch have. Like, you should get like 16 weeks of maternity leave. You should get that before to take that last 4 weeks off before you go into labor. You should have this time to be able to bond with your child. You should have this time to spend with your child. And when you go back to work, right, you shouldn't have to like immediately go back full time and kind of get yourself back into the groove. But yeah, and then we should have universal like daycare, childcare, and there's a lot of things that we should have here in the U.S. that we just don't, that make, like she said, it doesn't seem like we're really focused on family values here, but more of a work culture, which leaves moms feeling incredibly guilty because they can't give that time and attention that they want to give to their child.
And to me, that suggests there's something we need to do about these cultural ideals that say that mothers need to devote all of their time and energy to their kids. And at the same time, we need to do something about these ideal worker norms that suggest that workplaces deserve an all-absorbing commitment from their workers.
Agreed.
There's not a focus on overwork. There is in some jobs, obviously, and in some areas of work, but I think in general we don't have that overwork culture. I think if people have the choice, which unfortunately a lot of people don't, but if they have the choice, they will choose a job that they're home at 6 and they'll choose to work a little less. I think you see many more parents these years working 4 days a week, both of the parents, nowadays than even 10 years ago. And I think, it's fine going home at 4 or 5 is okay. As long as you put in your hours, which is 40 hours a week. We don't have a culture that stresses excellence. So you don't have to excel. And that makes life a little bit easier. If you don't have to excel, whether it's in work or in parenthood, in your parenting or in sports or in anything, if you can just be who you are and that's fine, that makes life easier, right? So
Agreed.
yeah, exactly. Doe maar gewoon, dan ben je al gek genoeg. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So it really means, if you're you, that's fine. You don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to be extreme. You don't have to be excellent.
Yeah.
Just being normal is okay.
Having
Agreed.
grown up in the UK and peering in from the outside, there are other benefits of Dutch culture that to me make parenting seem a little less stressful.
There's a close proximity towards your own parents often. So we don't, most Dutch people don't have to take a flight to visit their parents, which is a huge difference, of course, with the US.
It takes
Yeah.
a village to raise a child. I think in the past it was more common that a mother had support from her own mother or sisters or neighbor.
I also learned
I
an
would say
intriguing
100% it definitely takes a village. It is no easy feat. These jokers will absolutely run you, drive you crazy. And I don't really want, like I said, my first kid's about to be born here soon. But a lot of nieces and nephews, and these jokers will push you to your limits.
concept that the Dutch emphasize the 3 R's: rest, rust, regularity, regelmaat, and cleanliness, reinheid. It's these 3 themes that researchers say contribute to Dutch kids being amongst the happiest in the world.
Sarah Harkness looked into the rest and regularity and where it stems from, and it's 100 years old. Ethnotheory coming from a doctor, from a pediatrician or a general family practitioner, who wrote a book about rest and regularity and happiness. So it's funny there, he makes the link very clearly, 100 years ago or 120.
So rest and regularity is not only great advice, it's also an excellent example of how adaptable societies are and how quickly societal norms can be changed when they improve people's lives.
Many Western industrialized countries have implemented a series of work-family policies like paid parental leave, high-quality, affordable, universal childcare, and a series of benefits like robust paid vacation and sick days to help parents reconcile paid work with caregiving.
We need to change that narrative from early on, even before pregnancy, just that general social narrative of what pregnancy and birth should be like. And I think also being aware that this experience is very different for different individuals.
Looking back, what are you grateful
Very
for in terms of the fact that you were able to have 3 children and be a mother?
Such a lovely thing to be a mum.
Yeah.
It's lovely, you're here with your grandchildren. And, yes.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's such a beautiful poem.
If you haven't guessed, Marga is of course my own mother. When it comes to parenting, I've learnt a lot from her, such as gentle nudges that emphasize the importance of rest and of being a calm, reliable presence. But some of the expectations generally put upon mothers still seem impossible to reach, so there remains a long way to go to make the motherhood experience something that is filled with less stress and more joy. Only then will we recognize just how extraordinary motherhood is and place greater value on the parents who are nurturing the next generation.
I absolutely love that. That was a great video. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thoroughly think the U.S. should take some notes from this, and just offer more policies that help change that narrative here in the U.S. Offer more policies that help parents here in the U.S. So they and mothers, so they don't feel that mom guilt. So they don't so that they have that time with their children. They enjoy it. Yeah, because like she said, being a mother is such a wonderful thing. I will never know what being a mother feels like. I will know what being a father feels like. And I'm excited. I'm excited for that journey of my life, and I can't wait. I can't wait for my son to get here and to just watch him grow. Just watch him grow. That's all we have. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. Check out the next one. I'll see you guys next time.